Released in 2022, this 1/6 scale Legend Agent, J, is an unlicensed take by 11 and Kai Studio of Her Majesty's Secret Service agent 007, James Bond, as played by Daniel Craig. The head sculpt is not bad, though to my untrained eyes, I'd still say the prototype looks a little better. For instance, the jawline and nose are a little flat here. The hair sculpt is not as detailed, and the lips sit just a tad too far below the nose. Interestingly enough, finer details like the fishtail around the eyes, and even the veins around the forehead, are slightly more pronounced on the final product. As such, stronger lighting from a specific range of angles will help bring out the likeness even more. Personally, more than a few of these unlicensed Daniel Craig head sculpts had came and went from my collection over the years, and this is certainly one of the better ones out there. Bond's signature tuxedo is the big deal for the character, and that's also one thing for which 11 and Kai Studio had spared no expense. The lapels are nice and shiny. There's even a strip of plastic that goes around underneath to hold up the shape. The only thing I found to be a bit goofy is that the collars on the shirt and blazer won't sit as flush as they did in the promo pics. Otherwise, the bow tie along with the rest of the shirt are fantastic. The pocket square is actually a tiny strip of fabric, which is a thoughtful detail. It takes a little futzing, but you can pull on the cuffs from the shirt underneath, so they stick out just a smidge from the blazer. These two buttons are interesting. There's an actual slit here for the bottom button to go through, though I'm fairly certain the top one is actually just sewn in place. And be that as it may, the single vent behind the blazer and the shimmery lining inside did not go amiss. The tailoring on the pants are brilliant as well, complete with a shiny strip on both sides. And of course we get the ankle-length black socks as well. Now, I don't know if there's a dress code for these assassins in suits, because what we have here is once again the exact same shoes as the Hot Toys John Wick, which Master Team had also reused for their Agent 47. But hey, it looks good and that's all I care about. I say the same thing to death as I do for articulations of 6-scale figures in suits. Not today, biatch. But considering how restrictive the tux is, you can get a fairly decent range of arm swing before the blazer starts looking janky. The wrist joint is a little too small for my liking, and the torso joint is a little flimsy on my figure, to the point where even the fabric can overpower it at times. Surprisingly, the pelvis doesn't allow the legs to bend too far back, even if the pants are soft enough to cope with a pretty wide spread. I think it's fair to say that big action poses aren't typically the first thing that comes to mind when you think of James Bond. He's supposed to look good even just by standing there. And good this figure does look on your shelf. 11 and Kai Studio went with this minimalist approach with the accessories. First, we have a time-honored sidearm of the Bond series, the classic Walther PPK, complete with a removable magazine and silencer option. The whole firearm is one sculpted piece, but the details are very sharp. Next, we have the signature silver Omega watch, with a glossy dial that's even somewhat discernible. It's also made of soft plastic, so it can handle a bit of flex. Then we have a set of hand parts that's complete with a semi-relaxed gripping option, so you can pull off some of the most gentlemanly of poses. The only other accessory I would have wished for is a tiny glass of lemon-peeled, medium-dry vodka martini.
Shaken or stirred?
Do I look like I give a damn?
And finally, we have this clean and simple display stand. It's the same generic one that came with the Master Team The Last of Us Part 2 Ellie. The transparency makes the stand less distracting, which is why I've used it so many times on this channel. For the size comparison, there are only two candidates that would fit the thematic symmetry. First is of course John Wick by Hot Toys, followed by Master Team's Agent 47 from the Hitman series. This figure stands at just 11.5 inches tall, making it a bit too short for this scale to represent Daniel Craig, who is actually just 2 inches shy of 6 feet. But as far as the genre of suited spies and assassins go, I'm quite glad to be blessed with these entries in the 6-scale format. So there you have it, the 1/6 scale James Bond by 11 and Kai Studio. While the head sculpt is a bit shy of the prototype's caliber, it's still nothing to scoff at, especially when paired with a beautiful tuxedo, plus an essential selection of accessories. Craig's portrayal of Bond seemed like a ray of hope for a franchise that hasn't aged with much grace, which makes this release a rare treat for any collectors who are fans of the series today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.